Hello, Samuel.
Parker, how are you, man? Happy F15 Thursday to you, bro.
I feel like
how's life? How's your week?
I feel like we haven't done one of these in a while. I know we did it last week, but it feels weird because I was in another country doing it, and now I'm back. So it's been a while since I've been at my desk doing it. But it's good to see you.
Welcome back. Welcome back to New York.
Your mustache has grown normally, which means that actually it's not your mustache, it's your beard that grew back out so that you don't have the crazy stash just hanging alone above your lip.
I think your 20s are about experimenting and figuring things out. And I say I'm still figuring out what hairstyle looks good on me as well as what facial hair I like. So we tried the mustache look. As my wonderful roommate, Matt McPartland said, it looked like I dyed my mustache darker than the rest of my face. So once he told me that, we decided to trim everything down. But yeah, we're good. We're back on track. Looking good, feeling good. Had a wonderful weekend. Episode 1, the guest from our first podcast actually came into DC. Got to spend time with the one and only Joey Lane this past weekend. So it was wonderful. How's your weekend, bro? Everything good with you?
Everything was great. The week is going busy. Busy. I will say, your hairstyle has changed over time, but not as dramatically as it did when you studied abroad in Spain. That Elevation Nation, we may have to post that. Sam's picture of his haircut in Spain. Nope. He really went with the exotic look, and I think it worked well for him. He doesn't think so, but everyone else thought so. So keep a lookout on that.
Let's hope no one ever has to see that hairstyle on my head again. It was rough. But yes, speaking of Europe and things going on outside of the U.S., I think we'd be remiss to not at least chat, Parker, about how you're feeling with everything going on in Ukraine. I know it's been a little bit difficult to follow what's happening, why things are happening, and we're definitely not experts, so we're not going to be preaching today. But just as friends catching up, I wanted to hear how you feel about all that stuff. It's obviously hard watching any humanitarian crisis go down, but this seems even more painful than normal.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just a humanitarian crisis. I think it's a people crisis, a world crisis. It is a crisis of so many things, and it's so sad to see. I studied government and politics in college, and you read about a lot of these things and a lot of the systems in place and the policies in place and the years and years of work that people have put in to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. And watching it unfold on the television right in front of you it's crazy. I was talking with my team at my full-time job, and we were talking about what was going on, and I think the first thing for me came in mind is you're watching it and it's not like a movie. It's real, but I feel powerless in the sense that I can't really do much to help because I'm sitting at my desk in the United States, and there are people who are struggling immensely across seas, and I'll never know what that feeling is like, how they're going through, and I just watch it on the TV. But it's crazy to think that that's a reality. It's not like a movie or a book, or you just turn the page and then things get better. No, people are literally going through war and trying to I don't know. I'm speechless when I think about it like that,
Yeah, no, and I think also, social media and everyone, for the most part, having smartphones and the ability to share information, video, and pictures live has made it seem even more real than before and less distanced, I think. I mean, we were able to hear and see things firsthand, right? I don't know if you heard the news about those Ukrainian soldiers on Snake Island, right? And you heard them say, F you to the Russians as they were invading. Right? You're hearing the voices, you're seeing the faces live, not months or weeks in the newspaper later, like many of our other wars have unfolded, but this is right here in front of us. And I think, Barker, I share that similar sentiment with you of feeling just really helpless, a little bit hopeless, right? And it's definitely scary that things like this are happening in the world that we live in now, where I thought we were through many of these preventable issues, but alas, I guess not. I was actually reading this book. Let me look up the title. I don't want to mess it up. It is a history book about all the ways humans effed up. It's called Humans, A Brief History of How We Fucked It Up. And in it, it was talking about that there's kind of this inevitability of war, unfortunately. Humans, for some reason, always go back to fighting and territory and land and power. And every time we think we've figured it out and come to peace and everyone's happy, it seems to be only a matter of time before something changes. And it's horrible to see that and think that. And I hope history doesn't repeat itself forever on this thing. But looking back at history, it seems like we always, for some reason, eventually come back to conflict.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say we, though. I think there's small amount of individuals who like conflict like that and are deterrents of peace, and they want to go against peace. I think the vast majority of the world and the people who live in the world want peace. It's those who are ingrained in the way they think and almost accustomed to that power, that feeling of deterring and, waging war, whether that's with terrorism, whether that's with going on in the conflict overseas, whether that's with like internal civil war within countries. There's the individuals who, I don't know, like, want that power, and the war is the only way for them to go about getting it. And it's messed up, man. I mean, 2022, you would think something like this would never happen, ever. Like, literally, it's crazy to think. And like to your point about social media, like, at World War II, you couldn't even really watch it on a television screen. You were kind of watching film get relayed and pushed, and the media controlled this and that, and newspapers. You're reading about things that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, in a sense. Whereas now you have literally Ukrainian soldiers and civilians with their TikToks, like, literally open, filming it. And you can scroll and watch as things literally unfold among, like, our eyes. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to all those people who are affected, whether they're in Ukraine, whether they're in Ukraine or Russia, honestly. I mean, for the most part, think about all the Russian civilians who don't want this. And it's painful, and all their family and friends are on the world. Like, I don't know. It's messed up, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain. And I think, if there's any small glimmering bits of hope, I read a headline today that Airbnb, was hosting, was it something like 100,000 Ukrainian refugees in different host cities that are nearby. And so, you can only hope that, people can try to make an impact and help each other out and put humanity first in these situations for all these people. One thing that I was thinking about a little bit, Parker, and I want to get your thoughts, is this concept of bravery and nationalism, right? With all these Ukrainians staying back and standing up for what they believe in and fighting. Like, I don't know if I'm brave enough to say I would do that. Like, I really don't. It's incredible to see them be able to feel so passionately and strongly about their democracy and their country of Ukraine. I don't know if I would be able to show that same amount of bravery.
Well, I think most of them don't even have a choice, Sam, if you want me to be completely honest. Because the country of Ukraine is in martial law, and rooted in the law is that if you're a male between the ages of 18 and 60, you have to report to duty. Think about that. By law. It's crazy to think about. An 18-year-old, literally, imagine you're in high school, 17 years old, you graduate, and now you gotta, instead of going to college or going to start your job or whatever, you're fighting for the country that you grew up in, so that you can see that future. I honestly can't even think about it or imagine it, because I've never been in a position where I'd have to ever think about that. And hopefully in the future won't have to. But there are people who are enduring that right now. And that's the crazy thing about it. It's like people our age, 26 years old. That's like, it's wild to think about. And I think we continuously talk about how from World War II, all the terrible things that went on, we can't let history repeat itself. But I think what we're seeing unfolding in front of us is history repeating itself in some way.
Yeah, it's horrible. I'm glad, you and I were able to connect on this. I think it's been a hard couple weeks of just watching the news and feeling like we're sitting with our hands tied behind our backs a little bit here in the U.S. So I know I was looking at different ways that we could impact and help. I know UNICEF is one organization you can donate to help the humanitarian crisis and some of the refugees in Ukraine. There's a few other organizations as well. But I encourage Elevation Nation, if you're able and willing, find ways that you can support, whether that's reaching out to Ukrainians that and just showing them that you care and you're listening and you're here for them, whether it's financially, whether it's with your time. Find ways to support, because this whole concept of being humans together and having mindsets to want to grow and improve and elevate, it means nothing when our basic human needs are taken away, such as freedom. And we need to get those things covered first before we can think about elevating others. So if you're in a position that you can help someone get back some of those basic human rights, definitely try to.
No doubt.
So with that,
and I don't think I have
a perspective today.
No, not today. I think out of respect for the conversation, out of respect for what's going on, no perspective. Our perspective was our conversation. But like Sam and I have been reiterating, we are sending our prayers and our love and thoughts to all those who are affected. And hopefully, we'll continue to have these difficult conversations. I think that's what we're about. And please reach out, correct us, tell us what you think. We'd love to hear. And as things transpire over the next week, month, year, however long, things go on. But that's why we're here every week having these conversations.
Thanks for listening, Elevation Nation. No, it was a tough one, but we appreciate you letting us talk to each other and figure this thing out. And we're always here for you guys too. So until next week. Peace.